If you're standing at a career crossroads, wondering what comes next, then this is for you. Maybe you've just been through a layoff and you're reeling, scared, uncertain, asking yourself, what now? Or maybe you're in a good job, one you've worked hard to build. On the outside, it looks successful, but inside you feel the quiet ache that you're meant for something more, or at least something different. Whether you're here because change was forced on you or because your ambition is pulling you towards something new, you're in the same moment, a moment of decision. And I know it doesn't feel small because what you do next isn't just about a job title or salary. It's about your energy, your values, your family, your future. It's about what kind of life you want to live and who you want to be in it. Today, I want to help you find clarity in the noise. And not with some generic advice to follow your passion, but with grounded, step-by-step way to sort through your options, align with what really matters, and move forward without blowing everything up. This is your life. Let's design it with intention. First, let's work on clarifying what matters most right now. When you're facing a major career decision, it's tempting to ask, what's the right next move? But the better question, the more strategic question is, what matters most to me right now? Because your best next step depends entirely on your current season of life, and seasons change. So let's start by getting grounded. Grab a notebook and write down your top 3 priorities right now. Not the ones you think you should have, the ones that, when you're honest with yourself, matter the most today. Maybe it's flexibility because you're parenting young kids or caring for an aging parent. Maybe it's impact because you want to feel like your work actually makes a difference. Maybe it's stability, or maybe you're finally ready to go after the leadership role you've earned 10 times over. And I'll tell you, this step is deceptively powerful and one that we often skip. Because when you're overwhelmed by options or you don't know what to do, you don't just need more pro and con lists, you need a filter. And knowing what matters most gives you that filter. It helps you rule out what's shiny but misaligned and focus on what will actually feel good and sustainable in this chapter of your life. Remember, what matters to you right now doesn't have to be forever. But honoring this season honestly will help you make a decision that works for your career and your life. And then I encourage you to zoom out and start to name all the paths you're considering. Most women I work with aren't stuck because they lack ambition. They're stuck because they're carrying too many possibilities in their heads, and they all feel equally high stakes. Stay and push for a promotion, switch to a more flexible role, pivot to something creative, go part-time, start a business, go back to school, leave the workforce for now. The sheer number of options can feel like noise. And then there are people who feel like they have no options. Both places can make you feel stuck. So here's what I want you to do. Get all of the ideas you have out of your head and onto paper. Seriously, write every option you've even considered on a piece of paper or a whiteboard. And don't judge them, don't censor yourself. Don't worry if they're practical, let's just get them down. This helps you to slow down the swirl, and it's one of the simplest ways to start to reduce anxiety and make space for clarity. Once they're in front of you, you'll notice something. Not all options are equal. Some are real, some are shoulds, some maybe they're fantasies, and some are fears in disguise. But you can't start sorting until you've laid it all out. So think of this like a map. You don't need to commit to a direction yet, you just need to see the landscape. Because clarity doesn't come from spinning in your head. It comes when you start to get honest, and laying this out will help you to do this. Next, I want you to get honest about what's fueling each option. So now that you can see all your options clearly, let's dig deeper. For each one, ask, why does this appeal to me? What's fueling my interest in this path? Sometimes a path feels exciting because it's deeply aligned with your purpose. But other times we're drawn to something because we feel undervalued, exhausted, or like we're running from something perhaps we haven't yet named. It's not always about what we want. Sometimes it's about what we want to escape. So next to each option, write down what's driving it. Is it excitement, fear, pressure, validation, relief? Maybe you're thinking of taking a role in a nonprofit because you're craving more meaning. But is that a real calling, or are you just burned out by your current culture? Maybe you're thinking of starting a business, but are you being pulled toward entrepreneurship or pushed away from a toxic boss? This step isn't about judgment. It's about discernment. We want to understand what's driving you. Knowing your why helps you separate a calling from a reaction to pain. And that distinction, that's everything. Because you deserve to make a decision from a place of clarity, not reactivity. Then apply an 80-20 lens. The idea is simple. What are the 20% of changes that would make 80% of the difference in how you feel, function, and lead? Go back to that list. Which of these options would move the needle the most on your energy, your alignment, your satisfaction, and not 5 years from now, but in the next 6 months? Which ones would shift your day-to-day reality in a meaningful way? To get even more clarity, walk yourself through a day in the life of each option. Don't just think about the outcome. Think about the process, the journey. What does it feel like? The commute, the work, the team, the energy, your calendar, your mornings and your evenings, your weekends. Does it all feel life-giving? Does it feel heavy? This exercise reveals a powerful truth. Not all better options are better for you. Sometimes what looks good on paper drains you in real life. And sometimes the option you've overlooked could be the one that lights you up again. Next, I want you to look for ways to test your top options. You don't have to make a massive leap to make a meaningful change. In fact, a good strategy is to prototype your next chapter before committing to it. You test the waters, you explore. So instead of thinking, should I leave or should I just take this first job that comes along? Try asking, what would it look like to experiment? Could you take on a project in a different department? Shadow someone in a role you're curious about? Have coffee with someone who's made a shift you're considering? Take a short course? Launch a small offer? Or try a part-time advisory role? These low-risk experiments can offer massive clarity without the pressure of an all-in decision. They help you gather data about what actually fits you in this season, not just what sounds good in theory. So don't wait for the perfect path to appear fully formed. Start exploring one small step at a time. You're not lost. You're learning. Look, you don't have to have it all figured out today, but you do deserve to make this decision with clarity and not fear. You're not indecisive, you're discerning, and you don't have to leap. You just have to take the next true step, one that honors your ambition, your responsibilities, and your intuition. Because this isn't just about work. It's about your energy, your family, your legacy. And it's okay if that feels heavy. But it's also possible to carry it with more confidence and less self-doubt. When you have the right support and the right tools, everything changes. If you're ready for that next layer of clarity, I invite you to join me in my free masterclass, Get Unstuck and Move Forward with Confidence. In it, I'll walk you through a step-by-step framework to help you sort through the noise, assess what you really need, and start to take smart, grounded action toward what's next. You don't have to figure this all out alone. The link to the class is in the description. I'll see you next time.